Should I do day 1, day 2, or day 3? How about day 1, right? The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. With a stroke of my pen on day 1, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy.
The people who call me weird want to give like hormone therapies and sterilize 9-year-olds. Like, I think it's a lot weirder. These people think that everything that's different about men and women is, they use this word, socially constructed, right? It all comes from culture. Men and women, yes, some of our differences are cultural. Some of our differences are just basic biology. And I think they're so uncomfortable with that, they try to biologically change men into women and women into men. Because if you can get rid of the biological differences, then you can kind of get rid of all the other differences.
I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this?
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be, I used to believe that I was born in the wrong body, and the adults in my life whom I trusted affirmed my belief, and this caused me lifelong, irreversible harm. At the age of 12, I was well into an early puberty, and I was very uncomfortable with the changes that were happening to my body. I came out as transgender. The gender specialist I was taken to see told my parents that I needed to be put on puberty-blocking drugs right away. They asked my parents a simple question: would you rather have a dead daughter or a living transgender son? This was the moment that we all became victims of so-called gender-affirming care. I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. I had a double mastectomy at 15. I will never be able to breastfeed. Everything that I went through did nothing to address my underlying mental health issues that I had. The drugs and surgeries changed my body, but they did not and could not change the basic reality that I am and forever will be a female. When my specialist first told my parents that they could have a dead daughter or a live transgender son, I wasn't suicidal. However, at 16, after my surgery, I did become suicidal. I'm doing better now.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures. And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation, get transgender out of the military and out of our elementary schools and middle schools and high school. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately.
The tell for me was when they started saying, well, this stuff is totally reversible. If you give hormonal therapies to a 9-year-old kid, that is not totally reversible. And why are we doing this to our kids without any real confidence in the science? We right now are giving kids hormonal therapies. Pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars off of it. And none of us are looking around and saying, is this good because they're making money off of it or because it's actually in the best interest of these kids?
The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients.
So what message do I want to bring to American teenagers and their families? I needed to be loved. I needed to be given therapy to help me work through my issues, not affirm to my delusion that by transforming into a boy, it would solve all my problems. We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong. We need to stop telling children that puberty is an option. Puberty is a rite of passage to adulthood, not a disease to be mitigated. This needs to stop. Enough children have already been victimized by this barbaric pseudoscience.
As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. And we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. And we will keep men out of women's sports, and that will likewise be done on day one. Should I do day one, day two, or day three? How about day one, right? Under the Trump administration, it will be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. And they are assigned at birth. Doesn't sound too complicated, does it? No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end.